What's going on, world? It's your boy Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World, and I'm here with the one, the only Heather Hurt. How are you, Heather?
I'm mediocre. How are you?
I'm probably about the same, but I'm faking it like nobody's business right now. It's a holiday season. We're gonna give cheer. We're gonna come along with some cheer in just a little bit. We recently had the pleasure of checking out Avatar: The Way of Water. We actually saw it early on, but we've been so busy. We meant to get our reviews out early, but you know it's out to the people. So if you've seen the movie now, let us know in the comments. Let us know how you feeling. We're gonna give you our vibes. So we're gonna spoil right now as well, because why not? It's out there with the people. We don't have to worry about spoiling because we're not under those review embargo restrictions. So Heather and I will break it down. Avatar: The Way of Water. And then, she'll break down the story as we do. I'll get into the cast and characters, and then we'll come together with just our thoughts about what we thought, what we were given after, 15 years now, I think? 12 years?
2009, so 14 years.
14 years, something like that. Was it worth the wait, people? You will find out, at least in regards to for me and Heather. So I'm going to toss it over to Heather, who will break down the story, The Way of Water. Here we go.
So we are back to Pandora. It's been greater than 10 years, according to the trailers. Time is fake, my friends. It's both a straight line and a circle, so we're just going to call it greater than 10 years. The humans, the off-worlders have been kicked off. That's not what they're called. What are they called again? What are they off? They're not called off.
I'm sorry. I don't know. You're right, though.
They're
Off-worlders, the
we'll
Earthers,
call them colonizers, because that's technically what they are.
Basically,
we'll call them colonizers.
Let's be real, people.
Earthlings have decided they were kicked off the planet. A small subset of them that were good, that were friends with the Natiri. I can never spell it. I can never spell it, but I can never say it. With the Natiri, did stay. We do see several recurring characters. Sort of. We have Jake back. Him and his family. He is, of course, now not Natiri is her name. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the Navi. There we go. I'm right. I know math. Can you tell I've been away for like 3 weeks? Okay, so friends who with the Navi have remained. Jake, who has taken over the actual embodiment of his avatar, has become the leader, along with his partner, his mate, his bride, Neytiri. Sorry, James Cameron, you're not paying me to do this, so it's going to happen. They have grown their family in some very interesting ways. They themselves have had 3 children, and they also adopted a child. Sigourney Weaver's character, at the end of the first film, of course, we saw that she had also taken to live in her avatar form. So she has gone into some sort of stasis and magically had a child, Kiri, who was adopted then by Jake. So we are about 10 years into what should be wedded peaceful bliss, when all of a sudden the Earthlings come back, and this time they're not just trying to steal metals from the planet, they are literally colonizing the planet. And they first attack the same forest, and Jake has to protect his family, his tribe, and they go into hiding. He is, of course, a military man, so what does he do? He just destroys them. He destroys the humans very easily, but that isn't going to stop them, especially when the general returns. He did die, but you know, we can move our consciousness into Avatar-esque characters now. So death is just a figment of our imaginations, and the rehash of the original story happens, but this time with a wonderful new tribe when Jake and his family run away. So I think we'll get more into it a little later. Somewhere in that was a plot. So I'll hand this back over to Kuyopi.
There we go. Thank you, Heather, for trying to make some sense out of the madness that this was. But but we'll get into that more when we kind of give our review. So let me break down the cast and characters of Avatar: The Way of Water. Returning, Jake Sully is Sam Worthington. You also saw him in that not so good Terminator film, or was it good? I don't know, but it had Christian Bale yelling at the crew, which created a lot of kerfuffle. Anyway, that's what I remember. Sam Worthington, our Jake. We have Neytiri, our from space, our Navi, Zoe Saldana. She's done a lot of space films at Zoe Saldana. We've seen her as Uhura in Star Trek. We've seen her as our Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy. She loves her space stuff. Shout out to Zoe Saldana. Also who loves space stuff are Kiri, Sigourney Weaver, y'all. You know, aliens. Back, but is she? Is she? Sigourney
Yes.
Weaver, y'all, are Kiri.
She's back.
Yeah, in so many ways. We'll get into that. Quaritch, he was previously like Major Quaritch or whatever. Our Marine guy, Stephen Lang, great phenomenal character actor. You know, I think he kind of blew up after the first Avatar. He had always been around a character actor. I believe he started getting more roles after Avatar, which kind of like really kind of took him out of character actor status, but then he kind of like went dormant again. I don't know. But I think he's a great actor, and I just want to see more of him. I actually think he would have been great as our Cable at one point, but then
I could agree. Yeah, I could agree with that.
They cast what's his name as Cable, who I like as well. What's his name? Who played our Cable in the live action? Heather.
And why am I blanking?
I know, right? Okay,
why are you asking me questions?
My bad. Anyway, she's gonna look that up. But he was great. I love him. He's from Goonies. But that guy. But Stephen Lang, I thought also as well. If they were to go an older route with Cable, which you know, Cable is
he's older. Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin.
Shout out to Josh Brolin.
Too short. He's too short to play Cable.
Thank you, Heather. But yeah. I thought Josh. You know, I didn't mind Josh Brolin, but Stephen Lang, I think Heather and I agree, would have been phenomenal as a Cable. So anyway, enough with the fan casting, enough with the nerddom. But this is Nerds Rule the World, and we'll do that every now and then. So sorry. Our Ronald is Kate Winslet from Titanic fame. So, you know, she lets to play in the water, but she won't let you get onto the door. She'll push you off like she did Leo. So anyway, that's our Ronald. Tanawari is played by Cliff Curtis, and he looks very familiar. Where do I know Cliff Curtis from? I'm assuming he was our island chief. He looks very much like
Tanawari. Yeah, he's the head of the new group.
Yes,
the new clan.
We've seen him in what I know. These are Fear the Walking Dead. Okay, that's what I remember him in that. He's been in other stuff. He was in Last Airbender. Okay,
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, right. So there we go. Tanawari is Cliff Curtis, who he's been a character actor. We've seen him around in different things, and yeah, didn't have much to work with though in this. But anyway, we'll talk about that in the review. Joel David Moore is Norm. Who is one of the norms, I would also say. Not so much a colonizer, but he was a normal human.
One of the good ones.
He brought his role back. He was in the original, I believe, as well. One of the cool scientists that, you know, is about science and, you know, what we should be doing. So I'll shout out Norm, Joel David Moore. CCH Pounder. She's been in a lot of cop shows from what I recall. Can't think of them offhand at the moment, but always been a great character, TV actress. She played Mawat, if I'm pronouncing that right. Edie Falco was our General Ardmore. Now that makes sense. One of the colonizer Marines. I knew she looked familiar when I was watching the film. So Edie Falco, great actress. Brendan Cowell was Scoresby. Was that the Moby Dick guy though?
Moby Dick guy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was guys, watch the film. This was essentially sci-fi Moby Dick. Let's be real. Anyway, keeping it moving. Dr. Garvin is Jermaine Clement, who is hilarious. Also a great singer. Love him. Natayam is Jamie Flatters. Tuck is Trinity Jolie Bliss. I believe I talked to her. I interviewed that young lady for another project. But shout out to her. Good to see her getting other work. Loak is Britton Dalton. We also have Spider, played by Jack Champion. Spider is our human who is living with the Navi, who you'll learn more about when we talk about our review as well. Tesseria is played by Bailey Bass. Some other notable roles. Philip Geljo played Anung, and Dwayne Evans Jr. played Roxo. And certainly got to introduce, talk about the crew on this. Crew director James Cameron. Hello. This is his imprints all over it. Joining him on the writing chores as well, because James wrote this along with Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver. Those are the most notable for the crew side of things. But again, it takes a village to create a film. Shout out to all the amazing creatives that put this together. I know that Heather attended the conference with Weta Virtual Effects. Great list of names there. We'll probably have that being posted up on the page soon with just some of that insight, because this is a spectacle, y'all. This is eye candy. I will give it that as we get into our review. If anything else, this is visual eye candy, truly spectacular for us as creatives and getting inspired, and that love sci-fi, love seeing kind of futuristic imagery. If you love water, James Cameron has always loved water with a lot of his work, and did a lot of documentaries about, like, I think, didn't he do like a search for the Titanic at one point as well?
I think it was either him or Ron Howard, one of those two.
One of those. Both of them love the water, but it's eye candy. So with that being said, that's the characters list and crew. Heather, did you want an Avatar after 14 years or whatever it was that we just said? Your silence is golden.
So one of the things that I don't know. Here, let me start with this question. Did you like the first one?
I thought it was all right, and I will say, as a kid that had seen a couple 3D films here and there, but it was like, very old school 3D, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had and I grew up with the red and blue lenses, if you recall, because I remember having those 3D comics. I always thought that was cool in concept.
Mm-hmm.
And just, man, that to me was like the way of the future. Technology is going farther and farther. Like, we should be able to do these things, right? As a Back to the Future fan with, like, I wanted a hoverboard. I loved future casting and being able to utilize these things. And so, yeah, when I saw that first Avatar, I was like, wow, this is 3D. So much so I was one of the first people to purchase a 3D TV. And yeah, it was just eye candy, spectacular. Story-wise, okay, but as a POC filmmaker, you're basically telling the colonizer, indigenous story, and just very, I don't know, just again, it felt like it's hard to swallow, as a POC filmmaker that has experienced life and trials and tribulations and knowing history. That part rubs me a little bit wrong, a lot wrong, but I can't deny that it's amazing visual storytelling, and that hopefully one day I can take these tools and utilize it to tell true stories, authentic stories, but it has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And James Cameron is one of those people revolutionizing and helping create this medium. So it's up for me as a POC filmmaker and the rest of us that are getting into this industry to utilize these tools, whether we create it ourselves or we use these tools that are handed to us, to then change the narrative. So make history.
That's fair. So to combat that, my husband and I were kind of really, really, really anti 3D film.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like, we actually are not huge 3D film people. To give one fun story, the way that I remember Hobbit Journey was about an hour after I got home from that film, I was rushed to the hospital and had my appendix removed. So, I am A+ 3D, but not to talk. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about the cinematography, everything in a little bit, but like, other than the fact that we know that James Cameron defies and defines storytelling, visual storytelling, my husband and I were not enthusiastically going to see Avatar, so we never saw it on the big screen. Thus, when we saw it just on our television, and my husband he's a big tech guy, so it's not like we had a mediocre television. We had a top tier television, even though we were flat broke. And when you get rid of just being surrounded by the visuals, all of a sudden it becomes about the story and it becomes about the plot. And no matter what we say, positive or negative, about James Cameron and his storytelling, the man cannot write a story. I guess I should say it's just negative. The man does not have a strong grasp of character growth, character definement, but goddamn, can he make a beautiful image?
Yeah.
So when it came down to it, I did not care much for Avatar. I didn't.
He knows how to polish a turd.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I would say it's a little. It's more like he knows how to buff a pretty diamond with like moss inside. Like it's not necessarily shit.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't
Not,
say it's shit. I wouldn't say
it's just not great. It's not. It's just not a story. It's just really pretty. And so I gotta say this. I think you and I were talking. I was just like, I really don't care if I go see a.
yeah.
It was great. I didn't have to pay for it. Thank you, Disney. I appreciate it. I didn't have to pay to go see a movie I didn't care to see, but at the same time, I was not jumping into the water to see this at all. So.
Especially knowing the time, what is it? The 3-hour film.
3 hours and 10 minutes, and that is 3 hours and 10 minutes of visuals.
Yes.
So it's the fact that the director, God, Cameron. The fact that the director tells you to go to the bathroom in the middle of the film, that says something about your story. You've got plenty of time. You can just leave. Sir.
Right. So, okay, cool. Yeah, visually amazing. Yeah, revolutionized 3D technology.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hollow story. And then, yeah, for the both of us, when this came about, I can echo Heather's feelings. Yeah, I was like, do I want to sit through 3 hours? It's been so long. Are we ready to go to Pandora? Maybe, I guess. I don't know. But so we went to Pandora, and now we're here. We broke down story, broke down our characters, our initial feelings. So Heather, visual, let's talk visuals. So, and then we'll get, I guess, into more. Let's throw the niceties at the front. I don't know.
We get a sandwich. It's those compliment sandwiches. Got to go good, bad, good, bad. Fill in the blanks.
Visuals. What do you think? What do you think of this beautiful world of Pandora? Or is it beautiful to you? I don't know. And the 3D now returning back to 3D like this again. Mm-hmm. What do you got to say about all that?
So I did get to go to both press conferences for this film, and I will say that the Weta conference, the VFX conference, was actually far more interesting. Sorry, actors, I love you very much, but it's when you get incredible visual storytelling like this. Once again, visual part of it. It's really cool to see what it is, because you literally have Weta and James Cameron and his teams in general, along with the separation of Weta is an incredible company. Just they are shattering every single visual ceiling and making something new. And I don't know about this. You and I both saw it in the same theater. We saw it in the Dolby high def vibrating 3D theater. And the unfortunate thing about having something that is next level, that has something that will define future storytelling, is that today's projectors, no matter how good they are, cannot always keep up. So the unfortunate thing about it is this was clearly a beautiful movie that, due to the power of the projectors that we currently have, gave some serious video game vibes. There were moments that I was just like, this is a scene that you would, you're in the play part of a video game, and this is the story in between. Like, that's how it went, and it was kind of unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, we were in the same theater. I saw it the night before, Heather. Unfortunately, we couldn't see it together, y'all, which is kind of sad. But anyway, we both got to see it in IMAX 3D. Well, it wasn't IMAX, right? It was Dolby.
No, it was just 3D. Dolby. It was just Dolby.
But if you were to catch this film, please see it in the best means possible, mm-hmm. because it helps. Because like we said earlier, Cameron, the gloss, the shine is what helps him as a filmmaker. Mm-hmm. So I have to say, and because of that, and again, to like I was saying, the pros of him utilizing this technology, that go for that. That's why you should see it. That's why he's utilizing this. So see it in the best means possible. This is a visually stunning film. If anything, visually stunning, inspiring for any creative that is out there like myself. Yeah, he knows how to build this world, and the advances in 3D and effects, like water used to be a problem, fire used to be a problem. He incorporated both of that in this and mixtured and all of that, and just the visuals of these characters too, look amazing, although still somewhat, you could kind of, some weirdness there, but still, it's just amazing what they can do with technology now. And just as you watch this progression happen, like I'm a kid that played with 8-bit Nintendo, or even before that, like Atari, like seeing that evolution. These kids, this new generation knows, are taking everything for granted with what they see in video gaming. Like y'all didn't have to deal with Atari, graphics like I did. But I will say it's been such a ride to see technology advance, and you just develop a better appreciation for, this content, this material that we're consuming. So, just pay attention to that, y'all. If you love this kind of material, content, entertainment, it's amazing to watch how these things grow and what we can do in the future with it. So visually stunning film. Let's get into the overall feeling on story, characters. Yeah, this is sci-fi Moby Dick, as I was saying earlier. And I feel some kind of way as an Asian, as an API, Asian American Pacific Islander, by way of the Philippines. This is, basically talking about colonizers going over, and taking advantage of indigenous people. But more so now in this one, where I relate to it more, because he goes from the tree people, as they even say in the film, to the islands on Navi. Is that the name of the planet?
No, Pandora. Pandora is the name.
Pandora. Yeah, that's right. On Pandora, to like these island nations on Pandora. And so that's what kind of like really got me in a way. And it just reminded me of tales that I'm aware of, like with James Cook, Captain James Cook, and just the English colonization, moving out to the islands of the Pacific and all of that. And if you know that history, it's heartbreaking. And especially right now, I recently visited Hawaii, which I still feel kind of guilty of, when true Hawaiians don't want you coming out to their island right now, especially during this pandemic, with people bringing diseases to them. Like, it's crazy. Hawaii was raped of their culture and their island by America, and it's still, they're fighting back right now. And if you don't know enough of that, please, there's a ton of documentaries out there, learn about that. And it's just sad, and it's happening not only in Hawaii but other islands, and happen to other cultures, and they may never see it again. But like here, as U.S. Americans, that's currently, which is so vile right now, what I think about Hawaii. And that just reminded me of that fact. But yeah, it was hard for me because that was essentially the center of this story, of what they were doing. And then you have, just seeing those visuals of like these colonizing Marines. And I don't know, it just kind of made me mad at I'm prior service. I don't know how you felt about that, Heather. Like, here Marines do what Marines do. And like, it just brought back trauma for me personally. Just seeing things like that and just being reenacted in sci-fi form. And that's kind of like what I posted on Twitter here and there. My thoughts. Visually beautiful film. Go see this in the theaters. But if you grew up like me, you're going to feel a different kind of way. And, it's just utilizing our pain for entertainment is how I felt. So I'll pause right there. But that's kind of like what I was feeling in different ways, even though this was sci-fi, this is make-believe, blah, blah, blah. But it was based on real shit. And that's how I felt. And that's how I just wanted to express that online. And just like, if anything, I hope people utilize watching this film and learn more about what they're taking from, and hopefully create change with what we can do right now. Because the pillaging of culture and their people and the world, the environment. I will give a shout out to, I want to stop for a second. I want to give shout out to the production. Some of the things that we got. I don't know if Heather got all the emails as well. I've been trying to share back and forth. The production is doing like a conservation campaign, I believe, in some of the theaters, and giving back, because we as we have one world here, this earth. We got to do better with conservation. We got to stop throwing junk into the seas. So they are doing things like that to help spread awareness. So I'll give shout out to the production on that, because you're showing this world, let's talk about how, they talk about it in the film, like how they're destroying things, and let's relate this to real life, and they are doing some measures there. But I'll toss it back to you, Heather. I know I said I was going to do that a second ago, but you know how I can get on a soapbox, which I don't normally do. So I'm sorry.
Never done it before on this channel before. But that's the thing. It's where you're seeing that, because you have the real lived experience versus me, a white person who literally, what someone like me should be feeling is a very real realization that this is what we did. We are actively still doing to indigenous peoples all over the planet still. These sea characters, they seem to be kind of this mix between Native Hawaiian peoples, the Polynesian peoples, and I would say Native Australian.
Oh yeah, New Zealand. Yeah,
indigenous peoples. But no matter what, whomever, because there was a large Americans in Hawaii, and the Philippines and Polynesia, and then we had London specifically, in Australia, and France and Australia. So it's like, it doesn't matter what type of white person you are. It was white people who actively destroyed, or who did destroy, and are still actively stealing from land, stealing from natural resources. And that's always been one of Cameron's big things. Even in the original film, that story was about environmentalism. It was about showing that the destruction of a single element can eradicate peoples, it can eradicate resources, it can do a lot of terrible things. And then when you go from just, you want an element, to terraforming, you're taking so much more. With the giant lobster whales that were all pretty and tattooed all up, what we saw a real connection between a group of the Na'vi and a family. They created a family, they created a relationship with the land, with the elements, with the other creatures. And you have white people, and this is primary, and I'm going to say this, and this is unfortunate, because it's often placed on the military. It's not their responsibility. It's the government telling the military to do something and them taking into action. They will go in and they will do whatever they need, and that includes destroying family when they actively know that is destructive emotionally. We know this giant lobster whale is a member of their family, but the only way to get their attention is to kill it. Let's kill it. Gotta kill it. That is a statement that we should be taking seriously, and we should be learning from that. There are multiple layers to this, but we have to take real life trauma, real life stories, and we as white people need to digest it and accept it and know it and own it for us to learn and to grow. So there's the opposite side. It's if you are a person if you are not a person of color and you were impacted by this, that means that you are growing, you are becoming an ally, and you are learning. So to take two, but
yeah. Speaking of that whale scene when they're hunting the whale, even though it was a sci-fi, not real, did that hurt you? Like, again, as I was telling you earlier, there's different instances where it just was traumatic for me. Not in like, just that just I felt a relation to it, right? Personally. But like, I know you as an animal activist, I love animals. This was a sci-fi fake whale, but did that not hurt you like it hurt me? Like, showing how they were just hunting that whale, and I think it was like Talokan too. Not Talokan that we know from Wakanda, but it was very similar.
Yeah, something like that. It was.
But when they were hunting that whale, did that not like like and just they even had a story for the whale? Mm-hmm. Again, it was 3 hours long. They incorporated a lot of things, so I was happy that they did that. So shout out to James Cameron in that aspect of the story, that we had some feeling with the whale. But like, yeah, did that like get you a little bit, like the hunting? Absolutely. And just that?
it only makes it worse when you realize that is a long-standing tradition of colonizers in general, colonists in general, is that they do not accept and use everything. And Spider is a very interesting take on it, is he's the one that calls out the issue.
Yeah.
It's not it's about learning and it's about adapting. And what you see in Spider is that he's like, no, there's more to this. And the humans are like, nah, this is just money. This is all we want. Throw the rest of it into the
Yeah.
water.
Oh, I
But
remember that.
I will say this: of all the shit that I am realistically giving this film, because there is just as little story, almost a little bit more character growth, but really it's just a rehash of the original. Um, they did have a really good take back and viewpoint, and there were a lot more emotional scenes. I did cry in this one. I did cry in
Yeah,
this
there's
film.
some very familial moments in this, which
Mm-hmm.
is beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel the feelings, and it read across with the effects to give those real feelings. Um, yeah. I also want to throw it in regards to like family and people. Let's talk about how another part that also slightly PTSD is, we had these white looking colonizers, but we now have the technology to make them look like the Na'vi, and they're now inhabiting these bodies. There's
Mm-hmm.
something there, right? That
Infiltration, absolutely.
right, and then we had this one human that is now sided with the Na'vi, but then we have this story where he's the son, let's spoilers, of Quadrich, if Stephen Lang's character, and now there's a tie there, and then we go further into the story, they fight, but yet the son wants to keep the dad alive, which and you can understand those struggles, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
feel that ugh, I don't know, that those are some really good dynamics there. What did you think about that? I guess is ultimately what I'm looking from you, Heather. How did you think about kind of like that kind of foreshadowing storytelling dynamics that they're trying to do with all of that? Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be three more of these guys, 5 films in total. So
Yeah. And that was going to be the last thing I was going to ask later, since
you
we
got to
are.
drag it out somehow when it comes to Spider and his dad.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, once again, one of the really great things about film is you can tell stories that are very meaningful, very important. And James Cameron does this very well. Well, sort of. He doesn't tell a good story, but he depicts a good story very well. It's you can see a lot of it. And one of the big things that they did, that many colonistic uh, countries, there we go, that's the word I was looking for. What they do is they will steal, they will take, they will re-educate, they will go all missionary style and go full mission. Wow.
I just caught that.
They
You
will go,
you you
they,
you
I mean, they will also rape and pillage, but we aren't going there. They will go full missionary, and they will try to infiltrate. They will use their own against them. That is exactly what they're doing. But in this case, and we are not that far away from this. We have AI. We have developmental tools like this, um, and we are actively working on subdermal transplants of the subconscious and everything like that. Fuck you, Musk. But anyway, 99% failure rate in monkeys, people. Please don't sign up for those trials. But it's one of those where what we see is we see real tactics that have been used for hundreds of years when it comes to the destruction, the decimation of indigenous peoples. And that's something that they will definitely do. Honestly, the concept of having the humans, like having Jake in general taking on this character, has always felt kind of weird to me. But at the same time, one of the things that everyone wants to preach is learned growth. And the way you can do that is from learning the aspects around you. And Spider is a very important character like that. He was raised with them, but he also actively calls out humans for being assholes. He's when he's with the doctor, who we can tell that the doctor's kind of right in the middle of that, where he's like, yeah, this is actually a huge waste, but I gotta work. You have this character that's willing to call out people of his kind, even though he knows that what he's doing might not be the greatest thing either. So I liked Spider. I like the concept behind him. Of course, he's going to have growth that's going to be needed. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting how that all continues. What do you think about let's bring it to Sigourney? Is she and her daughter and superpowers that
her
seemed
Jesus
like
baby.
a thread that they touched upon here and there, but they didn't fully like give us everything because obviously we're getting 2 or 3 more films, right?
3.
So they're gonna prolong all this crap. Do you think that was presented well, or just like what the hell? Like it seemed like a weird setup, or was it just enough? Because it felt, I don't know, it felt kind of off. Like, yeah.
I don't know, how long did it take you for you to realize that Kitty was Sigourney Weaver? How long that she was voiced by her? It took me way too long to realize that.
Oh, the in the Navi form?
The adopted daughter?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was her.
That was her. Voice? Yeah, that was actually voiced by her.
The daughter?
Yeah.
It's Sigourney.
Yeah. You said it like 10 minutes ago.
No, I know Sigourney was in the thing, but in the
thing,
thing,
yeah.
I thought she did. I didn't know the daughter was also Sigourney.
Yeah. So here's a better question. I know. So here's a better question because technically Kiri is this Jesus baby who with no concepted father.
And that was also too that I didn't understand. I thought that was just, we'll explain that later.
So I think that's going to be we'll explain that later. But here's so my husband and I were trying to figure this out on the way home from the screening. Is she like the daughter of one of the life trees, mother trees, or whatever the fuck they're called?
And that's why they had the weird.
That's why she has that weird connection.
Yeah.
Is she a clone? Because she's also voiced and created by Sigourney Weaver, and we know that in real life, cloning is done almost entirely through the egg process. And so basically, those eggs, even though they are inseminated with a male sperm, are, well, gender is subjective, but even though they are inseminated with sperm, it is just the mother. And so they are usually a direct replicant of the mother. So is she just a clone? Or do you think was she actually, impregnated by someone, and who would that someone be? What's your opinion?
That's a lot. I don't even know now because I'm like still blown away that I thought it was a different actress doing that voice now.
No.
And shit. Like I need to hear it again now because
okay. So here are your options.
Okay.
Was she like the genetic implantation of the life tree or whatever the fuck that thing is called, and that's why she can connect with the planet? Is she a clone? Because we know that usually it is an exact replicant of the mother, and she is played by Sigourney Weaver. Or 3, do you think she was truly impregnated by someone on the base? And if so, who do you think it would be?
Well, it would have to be a Navi, right?
Would it? My husband and I ended up talking about this for like 2 hours.
What if they collected sperm from some dead Navi or something and she impregnated herself?
Well, we were at the point, it's what if the real reason that like her and Spider have this weird connection is because the general and her, she was using his sperm to.
Yo, that's good. I definitely think I want to say there is some kind of relation there. I felt that they were saying it without saying it type vibes with the general and the son. Because when did the son happen?
He was in the first film. He had a kid in the first film.
Yeah, I because they did throw that in flashbacks, which is like, what the fuck? And how are we explaining this daughter all of a sudden, quote unquote daughter? Yeah, I'm confused now because now you're also saying that's her and shit. Honestly, real talk. Even this film with Jake Sully, like it's been forever since I saw the first one. I don't even recall half of it. I just remember that Sam Worthington was a Marine. That kind of they did kind of something where he was faking as a Navi, right? But now he's full blown Navi, which I'm still trying to understand. uh, and I'm still trying to get over that point. Which I need to watch the first film again to understand how is he full blown Navi alien and having babies with Zoe Saldana. So now I'm all the more confused. To be honest with you, with how did Sigourney Weaver's character have this child, but this child is also her. Like, this is like something out of a telenovela right now. I don't know. I'm lost, to be
Blow
honest.
your mind. Well, we know that the good news is I can tell you how we know that he can at least have the same physiology. There we go. Physiology. That's the word. I know science. It's because they aren't born; they are grown. So in theory, he has everything other than the extra finger kind of situation.
So is Jake the original project that it was how they did Quadrich and the other colonizers into the Navi?
Yeah, that was when they were literally just braining themselves into it. Like, but now they can actually just put their entire subconscious into the character. So
that's what I was kind of thinking.
Yes, okay. Quadrich is now like a full Navi, even though he's not a full Navi. So
got it. Okay. I still got to see this first one, but yeah, now you've blown away my mind. I'm confused all over the place, but with that being said, I think that's how we should wrap this up.
Too much. It's too much. It's too much.
It's a lot. It was already a lot of them taking a sci-fi story and taking the indigenous colonizer story and Moby Dick and making it sci-fi, and now giving us this. And now there's this telenovela type nonsense that's wrapped into this as another
Twilight Zone. Going full Twilight Zone in here.
How are we feeling going into a third one, Heather? Now, what did you final thoughts on this? Would you recommend people seeing it? We got to see it for free, thankfully. That's 3 hours of our life that we didn't have to spend. What are you on this Avatar ride to see the others coming up?
Disney, if you continue to send me to Avatar films, I will continue to watch them. I will not actively go and search for it. I also want to know how much longer James Cameron can survive if a movie comes out every 14 years. But with that said,
probably in those same chambers that they make the Navi in. I wouldn't be surprised.
Time is a circle and a straight line. It also passes through each other. I don't watch Thor. You'll get it. It's one of those though where I am not a fan of the story. Same kind of here. It was kind of a regurgitated story. There was a little bit more to it, at least. And if they continue to grow the stories in this way, I wouldn't mind it. You can cut out an hour of this film and it actually be a pretty good movie to me. It's honestly too long, but I will say this as someone who I love Weta. I strongly support almost everything Weta everything Weta does.
Agreed.
Strongly suggest it. So if you are going to see this, if it's something you want to do, please see it in a premium theater. Not telling you not to do it, but if you're going to see it in a premium theater. That includes IMAX, Dolby, 4DX, something like that, something that's really nice and pretty. And no, that is not standard 3D. If you see it in a standard film, it's not that you won't enjoy it. It's just the projector. If you want to see something that will blow your mind, maybe not story-wise, but will blow your mind in beauty, see it in a way that you will enjoy it.
Definitely agree. I'm with Heather in all of that aspect. If you're going to see this, see it in the best way possible that is available to you. And with that being said, in regards to the story, you heard what we said and how it affected me. Just be ready for that. Be ready for that if you're a person of color. And if you're an ally or a colonizer, listen to what's happening, take heed, learn, educate yourself. This is James Cameron being very overindulgent is what I would.
All right, fair.
This Pandora universe. It's 3 hours of overindulgence, but it's beautiful. And he's having fun with that beauty, but find out the hidden parts of the story and learn. If anything, I want this film to inspire people with its visuals because it is eye candy. And shout out to the amazing weed of virtual effects artists that put their time and the actors, everybody put their time into this. You know, nobody sets out to make a bad film and or who they work with that are behind the film and their hidden motives. But let's use it to inspire. Let's use it to entertain and educate all at the same time. So those are my thoughts. Will I see it again? If Disney lets me go to it again. I'm probably actually to be real, my mom wants to really see this so bad because she enjoyed the first one, but she's also of a different generation that, is a different generation that doesn't know about all the struggles or doesn't see the struggles like maybe like her son sees. So she really wants to see it. I'm going to be taking her during my holiday break, and my wife and daughter never saw the first one either. So I think we're going to watch it on Disney Plus, and then we'll all go. All four of us will go out to see the second one. So there is more Way of the Water in my future, Heather, in the next week or so. So yeah, I will be paying the ticket, but hey, Disney, if you're going to help with the next one, we appreciate it. And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
We appreciate that.
I appreciate them trying to at least tell these stories, though, to try to do better, because they could not do better. They could be glamorizing the Marines more. I was celebrating. Let's be real, though. I was celebrating the times when the Moby Dick guy finally got his hand chopped off. Spoilers, the Marines getting their due when they needed it. When the colonizers needed to get got, they got. So they got the revenge that deservedly needed to happen from the Na'vi. So I will say that I was happy to see that aspect of us getting our revenge back as colonizers / the indigenous getting our get back. Anyway, there we go. I'm talking too much. I'm probably getting canceled right now, but hey, I am the person that I'm part of the people that they're taking stories from, and as Heather brilliantly said, yeah, we got to learn, people. We got to be allies. We got to do better. So let me toss it to Heather before I get any further canceled. Heather, how can the people talk about Avatar? And if they want to talk shit about me, how can they reach out to you?
If you want to talk to me about any movie other than Avatar, reach out to me at Nerd on Twitter while it still exists, or at Heather is a Nerd on Hive, Instagram, and TikTok. There's so many of them.
Send Heather all the love. And if you want to send your hate mail to me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Hive, it's the Legend Kuya P. And of course, here with Heather and the whole squad at the NRW and at New Release Wednesday. And also at Nerds Rule the World on YouTube as well. A lot of people just generally go to youtube.com/New Release Wednesday. But as of this past month, we also have another URL. It's youtube.com/ @Nerds Rule the World. So we have 2 ways to get to us, y'all. All of that nerd stuff. We appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Bye.